Okay, welcome to the USA League Placement Reveal. So this will be the USA placements. We'll go through each name, and from there we'll start it up. My name is Anthony, by the way. I am the commish of the USA League, and this is Andre.
I am the marketing director, so we're here and we're going to be talking to you guys about everybody who's been playing this season.
Cool. So this is Group A. We're going to go right into it, and we'll start with R.C. Gay the fourth, Robert. He's placed. This is his ninth year in the A.F.A. League. He's number one all time.
So this guy here, I think he's been cheating for a long while, but he won't tell everybody where he's getting his information from. So if you ever need any advice, this is the guy you're going to want to blow up.
Yeah. So he has really good stats from all his years. He's been the guy to pretty much look about for all the insides. For his total final standings, he's basically the best in the league. Same for total win percentage. We're all a little bit jealous of him, but nothing to be scared about.
Someone's going to take him down.
Hopefully. Our next person up is Chase Carroll. So Chase Carroll's, this is going to his fifth year with the A.F.A. League, and he's been in the USA League this whole time. Second overall.
Yeah, definitely. And it looks like his regular season's been getting better and better, and I'm thinking that percentage is going to go up.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing with him for a while. He seems like a pretty consistent player. Yeah. He's got pretty similar stats to RC. Not the best, obviously, but a pretty big contender with pretty high stats across the board with average win percentage, total points. Total win percentage is what I really look at too. If he's willing to put in that work towards whether it's the waiver wire or whether it's his starting lineup that he gets from the draft, he really puts that time to research and make sure he's putting the right players in at the right time.
Yeah, definitely.
Also in Group A is myself and my buddy Overton Ragland. So me and him have a co-owned team. We do co-owned teams as well as regular teams, and it is our fourth year in the A.F.A. League. So unfortunately, it's only my fourth year, but we're fifth all time. So I don't like to, support myself too much, but I would say we have done a pretty good job.
Yeah, so like how long have you guys been holding hands?
Pretty much the whole time. I wouldn't say it's...
I heard he's the brains of the operation.
Oh yeah?
That's what I heard.
I've heard different, but
okay.
It's a mutual...
So it definitely looks like these guys are definitely people you need to be worried about, so I definitely watch out for them. All right.
Yeah, we may not be the best in our total points or total win percentage, but by the end of the day, we make sure that we meet that postseason to really put in that work. And then we have Devin Keller. He is the 8th year in the A.F.A. He's a pretty long-term member, tends to stick around quite a long time. He's pretty much been in the USA League for the entire time, putting up pretty good stats. I would say his total final standings kind of like his best stat, promotes the most, and he pretty much gloats that's just about everybody. But yeah, it's a pretty good person. I mean, he seems to make really good changes on the waiver wire, which I admire. Trying to do my best to surf the waiver wire all the time because I think it's the most important to get those late pickups every now and then.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
No doubt, and I agree, man. I definitely got to watch out for him because he's been picking up some great players on the wire, and they've been putting up some serious points. So
yeah, I would say like his average points kind of shift all the time. So although his only average points is at 73%, he really like makes the points count. So he like moves his players to be like the most appropriate towards those weeks.
Yeah.
So that's our Group A. So Group A will consist of 4 players, the same as all the other groups. So we're going to go into Group B. So that's RC, Chase Carroll, me and Overton, as well as Devin Keller. And on to Group B. So Group B starts off with Sean Greaser, 4th year in A.F.A. as well with me, so we kind of started out at the same time. He calls himself Busted Cap for reasons that I don't know. 11th all time, and he's been in the USA League for a good amount of time, but pretty solid player as well. That's why we place him in the B.
Yeah, well, I know Sean pretty well, and
Yeah.
I feel like he can probably do better in his regular season. I mean, I think he talks a little more than you know.
Than he
whatever,
puts to the- yeah.
You know, it's just it is what it is.
So I definitely think, like, for best final standings, he might not represent all the time what he's actually capable of. I think he's like pretty strong player when it comes to drafts. It's just, you know, throughout
Finesse. He
Yeah.
loses the finesse.
Sure. I think he has pretty good
Love you,
trade.
Sean.
Pretty good trading though when it comes to the exchanges that I've made with him. So we'll see how it comes in the
sure.
weeks. No. Now we have Austin South. So Austin South is also in his 4th year. We kind of all came in at the same time, and we all kind of did pretty well. He's 9th overall all time, and I think he's probably one of the most dangerous people in our league, just because he's very like versatile. So he really knows like just about everything, and I think it's kind of like I get scared because you never know how good the team he has is going to be. So like this past year, it was a lot of like players that either really performed out, like Saquon Barkley or Todd Gurley, or they really, you know, pooped the bed there a little bit. But like his previous team the year before, stellar guys, all around great, and you kind of get scared of that difference.
Yeah, I really don't think his stats really show as much talent. as he
Yeah,
actually
exactly,
has, so,
exactly. Yeah, you kind of have to put a case for him. So.
Definitely.
So on to Dustin Scarborough. This is his 8th year in the A.F.A. and 13 overall. I know we started getting to this scenario where the stats start to dwindle a little bit, but don't oversee Dustin in any way. He definitely knows a lot about his football. Big Eagles fan. Unfortunately, they have a lot of stuff to work on, but yeah, he's a good fantasy player.
Yeah, definitely. And I just, you know, you can do really well and not put up as much points as someone else. It's just you get the points when you need them, and you win your matchups, and that's it.
Exactly. So. Next person is Luis Perkovic. So he's his 3rd year, kind of a newbie, kind of a new guy. He originally started in Atlantic Coastal overall, and then he started to move to the U.S.A. once we saw that he did really, really well. His stats only portray how well he did in the Atlantic Coastal, but I can say that he did really well in our league as well. I think the transition was needed, and I really think he deserves the placement that he's in. I mean, if you look at his total standings, he blew out everybody in that division.
Well, see, I'm gonna have to disagree with you a little bit.
Okay.
So Luis, I know these stats are coming from his cousin.
Okay.
She is so good at fantasy.
So you're saying that she plays for him?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. But no one ever believes me.
Yeah.
I caught him in the act. But you know what? I mean, if he's still finishing like this and he's gotten everybody else fooled, well, bravo to him.
Seems like he's
Love
got
you,
me
Luis.
So this is all Group B. We got Sean Greaser, Austin South, Dustin Scarborough, and Luis Perkovic. All good, pretty much.
Serious contenders.
Serious contenders, yeah. And now on to Group C. So now we're getting towards the bottom half, but nothing to be ashamed of. Alex De Silva is our next person. 3 overall, which seems a little weird that he's in Group C. He's coming back, 6th year in the A.F.A. He went down to the Atlantic Coast, I believe, and then, but he's been in a pretty competitive league a lot of the times. So he went into U.S.A, came out, and came back. And so I'm really interested to see how he does in our league now. And his stats kind of speak for itself. Like I said, with a bunch of other players, or people in general, when they pick specific players, he does a really good job at picking like a lot of name players. He does it really well throughout the draft. So like a lot of those names that tend to fall down between the draft, he's really able to like pick them up in the right position.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if he really puts in that effort and he wants that trophy, he's going to get it.
Yeah, he definitely works on a lot of emotion, ready to go. Definitely, I remember there was one trade we made. He really wanted Antonio Brown really a lot, and he was giving up like a lot of players. Like, although I don't think the exchange between wide receiver and quarterback was a lot, he was willing to give up basically a lot of his team to make that exchange. And although I wasn't okay with it, it was definitely interesting to see like what he's willing to come up with in order to make that change on his team.
Definitely.
And now we got Aaron Royster, my boy Aaron. This is his 5th year in the A.F.A, 10 overall. I think he's a big like a motion player. He kind of goes off how he feels throughout the draft. So he comes out hard, comes out good. He gets his real cocky vibe, has it going throughout the whole time, and really like balances off that. He works off his motivation. So if he's doing well, he's really, really killing it.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks like this guy could definitely come up and move up in the leagues, and
yeah, I think
he's
like
fifth year. I mean, I think he's got the knowledge.
I think in this like league for him, he kind of like I said works on that motivation. So when he's in that zone, he's like unstoppable in some ways. Like he really, I remember in the beginning of last year, he was really starting to kill it, and a lot of people got scared. He was making trades left and right. So. Next we got Dylan Hooker. Interesting. He's the 15th all-time in his 6th year in A.F.A. He switched leagues and then he came back into the U.S.A. He ended up really finding his spot a little bit more. I think originally in the U.S.A. he was a little uncomfortable with a little bit of competition, really needed some guidance, was able to drop down a bit, acclimate himself, really perform well, hit some like really good players like Chris Godwin. He picked up in the draft, kind of sought out him a little bit, ended up really benefiting from that, and then he came back in because we thought he was like really ready and prepared for the new competition.
Yeah, sometimes you just kind of need to take a break and get familiar with a lot of different players, and
exactly.
that compounding knowledge will help you in the future.
Yeah, I really feel like when I started off, I wasn't really knowledgeable about basically like basic depth charts, how the movement of the players go, which players become important and which players drop off. So it's really important to like gain that knowledge before you hit a league with such competition where everybody knows what they're doing, who they're picking up. They can go back into stats and see the general trends that occur.
Yeah.
So now we have Troy Day, my boy Troy, in his 5th year in A.F.A, 1 year over me, 21st all time. Bit of a dynamic player as well, goes off of emotion just like Aaron does a little bit. He likes specific players, so he's one of those people who deep dives into basically he looks at all players in their college, sees their film, likes to basically break down the player on how they actually would fit in each scheme that they're drafted in. So I think like having that knowledge and really deep diving to see what players will perform based on where they're fitting into is a big advantage when you're trying to draft, because you can really see like what rookies coming out are going to really break out and which ones aren't.
Yeah, and it just really sounds like this Group C is full of a lot of emotion. So
yeah, I think everybody's really passionate about getting to the draft.
Sometimes you need that to push through.
Yeah, exactly. So this is Group C. We have Alex Da Silva, Aaron Royster, Dylan Hooker, and Troy Day. And now we have Group D.
Oof.
Okay.
Group D.
So this is the bottom end, but there's nothing to worry about. This is J.C. Williamson. He's actually been in my division a lot. He's in the 4th year in the A.F.A as well. We got a couple people all coming in when I came in. He's 26 all time. He's also a bit of a he basically checks those players and sees which players are going to break out in the first years. I think we had a conversation between one of our other players in a different league and him about like Juju. When he came in, everybody was very skeptical about it. He was able to try and break down those players and see like what their advantages, disadvantages are, so that he can better draft throughout. I mean, obviously, his average win percentage is probably his best stat because he's able to. He's pretty consistent with how he plays every year, so you know kind of what to expect. But then again, with that experience, seeing each player and who they are and knowing what they could become or what they're not going to become, you kind of create that versatility throughout your division.
Yeah, and then I mean for his regular season, I think he's going to want to win more games and move up.
Yeah, definitely got to bump up a bit.
He's got something to prove.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to see how he does this year. So now we got Macon Harwell. So he is his 3rd year in the A.F.A. Now we're going down. I think he's a newcomer. Yeah, it seems like his last year was in the Atlantic Coast, 17th all time. So definitely pretty high. He seemed like he did really, really well in the previous year. And I'm actually excited. Don't have too much background on him, but it seems like when the stats come to play, it seems like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, for sure.
The total win percentage 100%. Average points at 73, but that just shows that he really knows how to utilize those players in those particular weeks, and basically applying that to get that win that he needs to get.
Oh yeah, I mean this is a new league for him, and he's going to be hungry, and
Yeah.
he's going to take some names.
I'd definitely like to see how he adjusts in the league. We got a couple new people, so it's definitely interesting to see somebody bump up and how they do. So.
Kind of want to put my money on this guy. Just saying.
Now we got Logan Rupert, also somebody from a different league. He's from the Virginia League. In his last league, this is his second year in A.F.A. I actually talked to him a little bit prior to last draft. He's 30th over all time as well. And he had some crazy people. You know, a lot of people get scared of like picking up players off of injuries or picking up players that are older. He tends to like really be able to pick out those players and make the right decision. And he seemed like he benefited from a lot. I mean, if you see the stats there, his total final standing is at 100%. So definitely somebody to be scared about. And you know, with this adjusted competition, it's really tough to see how he'll dwell like with the new competition. But I'm sure he'll be fine. He pretty much adjusts like he did in the last league. So I'd like to see how he does.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think these last few years he's definitely had a strategy, and he's executed on it every year. And I mean, I think he's going to do it again. He's definitely going to place top. So
I mean, although it's his second year, I mean, a lot to tell. You never know whether or not they'll stay consistent, but it's definitely important to be cautious of somebody with those types of stats. And we have Brian George, 5th year in A.F.A., 38 all time. Last year was in the U.S.A. He had some very interesting picks. He drafts like really heavy on the running back side, which I never do, which is weird for me because I think that it's always the right thing to do just because of how valuable running backs are these days. And he really had a lot of draft value. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out the way he wanted to, but just having that base shows that you can make any season anything if you have that real draft capital afterwards.
Yeah, I think he's just been maybe dealt a couple bad cards.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to recover from something
I mean,
like
if you
that.
even look at his total points, they're pretty high. The
Yeah.
total win percentage is pretty high too. He's just gotten unlucky. Sometimes he's in a more competitive division. Sometimes he just has those bad weeks.
Any given Sunday, same thing for fantasy.
It's definitely inconsistent. So it's getting more inconsistent as time goes on. You never know what's going to happen each week, and that's kind of the beauty of it. So.
Yeah.
And that is all of Group D. So that's J.C. Williamson, Macon Harwell, Logan Rupert, and Brian George. All right, so just to go over U.S.A. placements, these are the placements for Group A, B, C, and D. So we have R.C. Gay, the 4th, Chase Carroll, me, and Overton Ragland, Devin Keller, and then for B, we have Sean Greaser, Austin South, Dustin Scarborough, and Luis Perkovich. And then for the C and D, we have
Alex Silva, Aaron Royster, Dylan Hooker, Troy Day. Then D, we have J.C. Williams, Macon Harwell, Logan Rupert, and Brian George. So that's everybody, guys.
So this is a bit of the next placement reveals. So in addition to this one at 7:45, we have one today at 8:45, and that's for the Atlantic Coast. So please stay tuned for this one and the ones on Wednesday at 7 and 7:30.
And stay tuned because we're going to be giving away this jersey. And also, if anybody's interested, we have A.F.A. t-shirts. They are $15. I had to get one when I got here. I had to change. These shirts are great, all right? They feel great. They breathe so well.
Look okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, just a little bit of crispiness to it. I need to iron it and wash it, but I was just too excited. So if you want those, talk to RC. He's got them all locked up.
Another thing about the reveal, it's not certain about which one is going to be revealing that stream. So stay tuned to all of them, and you'll see when it streams. For club selection reveals, basic breakdown of clubs. It's like another way of playing fantasy. the uniqueness of it is that everybody kind of gets to play together through different leagues. So although we're doing and splitting up each league placement through different times and days, and they're in different leagues completely, this club kind of conjoins everybody in playing in a more competitive way, almost like on a team. So like for me, I'll play with Overton, and we'll be in ours together, but we'll also have, let's say Ryan Shaw in another league on my team, and me and him will, work together for this overall goal of winning against all those other teams that are in the other leagues.
Personally, I definitely leaned on my club members. They gave me some great advice.
Yeah, exactly. So not only gives you great advice, but it also like adds another competitive level.
Oh yeah,
that is
prizes.
Yeah, exactly.
Trophies. It's a big deal.
So it's important. So stay tuned. Bye.
See you guys.